Match, you outscored them second chance points, 19-0, won the game by 19. Obviously, that's a huge stat.
Yeah.
How big was that, keeping them off the glass and dominating the glass the way you did?
Yeah, just, the fact that they only had one offensive rebound, and it was a team rebound. So not one. I don't think I've ever been in a game when an opposing team, no individual has an offensive rebound. So I think that's really the separation in the game. We have the same turnovers. They shot the ball pretty well. We shot the ball, pretty well. Did some things. Obviously, we go to the free throw line more, but we're going to do that with Zach, down there. But yeah, just our ability to rebound, our ability to get it inside. We had some really good looks that didn't go down for us, and so that's what we just got to keep doing. But there's no doubt that was a big part of the game. The first 10 minutes of the game, we dominated it, but then for 30 minutes, it's a straight-up basketball game. And for a team that doesn't have a guy that's, player of the year in their conference, averaging 23 points, that controls the basketball, Estrada's a fabulous player. Not to have him, they're going to be really good. That's an NCAA tournament team right there when you put Estrada back in there.
Matt, coach after coach that you've played against say similar thing about Zach. There's no other player in the country quite like him.
Right.
What's it like to coach a team that has a player that there's no one else in the country quite like him?
Yeah. Well, I like it because, they can't take somebody on their team and really practice for 2 or 3 days, and they can get a feel for it. I compare it to a great pressing team. So you take a great pressing team, and then you try to work on, that press in your practice, and you're not a pressing team. And so, you'll put 6 or 7 guys out there, and you'll do crazy stuff because you're trying to get it to where it's going to be the same as a game. But it's never as the same as a game. Playing Florida State and the way they play and the way they switch and the way they do things, it's always taken us about a half to adjust to it. And sometimes it's been too late. That half has been too late for us, because we've been down against them. I think it's the same thing for him, for those guys that are guarding him. I thought their 2 big guys really played hard. I thought they really gave a great effort and battled him and was on him. And sometimes guys give into it. And I thought both those guys played. And with that being said, he had 23 and 18, And so, but there's no way that they can get in practice and really know what's coming. You can watch film and see that. Guys his size don't go after every rebound. He goes after every rebound. He gives an effort. He gives a great effort. He's just not one of those big dudes that sits there and scores baskets because he's big. He's got a good skill level and he's got a good motor.
I think you stayed with Zach through the first 10 minutes of the game. Do you normally do that?
No, but I normally have one more player.
So that wasn't you trying to get a little more out of him or anything like that?
No, I'm just trying to keep my best player in the game. If you ever get your own team, guys, keep your best player in the game.
That's why we're sitting over here.
Yeah.
You kind of touched on Fletcher coming off screens. You have, other than Zach, you don't have a guy that's going to consistently give you 15, 20 points. Probably it's going to be different guys every night.
Right.
But I think you have a lot of guys that are just basketball savvy. Maybe the best collection you've had, in terms of top to bottom here. How important is that to your success? Is just the guys like the Brian Waddells, the guys that,
Right.
have basketball minds and come in here and just understand the game.
Yeah, I think, people get lost when they see people play 10 to 15 minutes a game and they wonder why they don't do certain things because they've been sitting over there for 20 minutes cold. And now they got to come in and play a role and do things and help your team win. So that is a really hard role to play. But I think the balance that we have, whether it's Fletcher or it's Braden or Caleb or it's Trey or Mason Gillis, Brandon Newman, who's really been good, and he did some really good things for us again tonight. And I'm missing, obviously, 2 or 3 other guys, but I think we're going to have that throughout the year, and I think that's a good thing, especially when you get on the road. You can put Trey Kaufman in there at the 4, and he can get post-up baskets. Mason Gillis can stretch the defense. Caleb can do both, and obviously Trey Kaufman showed today that he can do both also. So when you look at our front line, we have some good pieces to balance out Zach, and then with Ethan, Braden, and Fletch, all 3 of those guys are really good passers. and where they should have good assist turnover ratios. And then you bring someone like Brandon off the bench who can really score the basketball. And David Jenkins just hasn't gotten going yet. And, we got to try to get him some shots because he can get going and change the game with his ability to shoot the basketball. And then you mentioned Brian, who does a lot of little things for us, who's really just kind of coming into his own, what he's trying to recover from with his ACL and his MCL surgery.
Trey had a really good offensive game, but had 4 fouls, I think, in his first
Yeah.
13 minutes. What did you see on the defensive end that got him in
Yeah,
trouble?
the one, he just, on 2 of them, he got away from his post D rules and just let the guy get it and then ended up getting a foul. On the one, they absolutely blew it. He gets cracked 2 different times. Then at the end of the play, as they're flailing, they call a foul on him. That's what the ref kept explaining to me. Refs don't explain good calls. Yeah, that's not the way it works. He caught the tail end of it. He was the outside guy. The guy on the baseline just ignored. I mean, he got cracked. And so like the one was bad luck, but the other 2, 2 and 4 were just post D. He just got away from doing what he normally does. You got to keep the ball out of there. If not, you got to give resistance. So, but you learn. Like you go back and watch tape, and you learn from that, and you don't let it happen again.